one.
So much damage, so much damage.
Bang one, bang one.
Playing the nuts, they're playing the nuts. Last squad, last squad, last squad.
Tier one.
Can you imagine an ALGS LAN without TSM? Because in reality, it was only a handful of weeks ago that it looked like that was becoming more and more of a possibility.
You think we'll make it to LAN? Honestly, it's probably up to like Sunday, really.
Matter of fact, if it wasn't for a 19-kill dub on the final day of regular season action, they probably weren't in position to qualify for LAN without a dub at the regional finals.
If we don't go to LAN, like I'm just like probably going to TwitchCon Paris and then coming back.
Let's go ahead and break down the game that turned around TSM's season. Hey, what it do, YouTube? It's your boy Q, and in case you've been living under a rock, or maybe you're just new to competitive Apex.
Don't patronize me, okay?
You're not sure why TSM not being at LAN would be such a big deal. TSM has long been a name that's been synonymous with championship caliber Apex. And sure, TSM hasn't been as dominant as they once were back when the CEO was winning chips left and right. It has been a name that has always struck fear into the opposition.
You want intimidation? I'll show you intimidation.
TSM finished last split with 3 session wins and 127 total points, sitting atop the North American region, really silencing the haters every step of the way, not just during the split, but also during the playoffs itself, scoring the most points during the group stages of LAN. And on Championship Sunday, it appeared to be a race between Imperial HAL and Sweet, NA's long-rivaled pair of IGLs for TSM and NRG respectively, as they would be the first 2 teams to cross that match point threshold.
Who's better? The one who didn't switch to controller.
However, it was in the 8th game that we would see TSM and Ascend, another match point qualified team from EMEA, squaring off in a final 3v3 for all the marbles. And while all things seemed right in the Apex world, with TSM hoisting the trophy and Imperial HAL getting the nod as the game's best IGL, what's that thing they say? The bigger they are, the harder they fall. And starting off Split 2, we would most definitely see TSM struggling, finishing inside that top 10 just once over the course of the first 5 sessions of the split, having them on the outside the playoff picture, looking in with just a couple of days left. Hal actually seemed convinced that he would be spending Split 2 playoffs hosting watch parties.
If we don't make it to LAN, then I'm probably going to TwitchCon Paris and then coming back and then doing a watch party for LAN.
Although, admittedly, I don't think that was because of how far behind the team was. We have to remember that this was also during the time that the CEO tweeted that they would be taking a break from Apex. So maybe it was more of a mental thing versus a mathematical thing about how far out of the playoff picture they really were. And while admittedly TSM was looking better than prior weeks after the first 2 games on Stormpoint, it was game 3 where TSM would truly pop off. Realistically, there were 2 key plays that would really allow them to secure this dub, which inevitably locked in their spot for London. I want you to see if you can point out those 2 plays and let me know down in those comments below when we watch this thing back. And if it's your first time through over here on the channel, what up? I do almost daily esports news, updates, interviews, you name it. So with LAN season right around the corner, make sure you're subscribed down there and turning those notifications on so you're staying up to date. Let's go ahead and actually listen into the team prior to the game itself. You can definitely feel the energy that this squad had heading into game 3. Now, TSM had been landing up at the wall all season long, as well as dealing with some contests, and unfortunately RNGesus hadn't been very friendly with TSM either. Since they do have that northern POI and a majority of those NA endgames on Stormpoint happened on that lower third of the map, that would mean that there would be longer rotates, quicker looting, which tends to mean less loot, as well as less quality loot
right below
for
us.
that mid to late game.
They're playing the same comp, Horizons here. I think we're beating them though.
They're probably gonna contest.
I think we 50-50, we're beating them.
It looks like we're beating them, for sure.
So of course this means that when TSM lands and sees that they have a northern zone, they know they need to capitalize. They have to hit the ground running, especially expecting a contest.
Wall's on far north.
Yep, gotta live up. It could be high point. It could be high point. Maybe.
Oh yeah, wait, you're right. I think you're right actually, because it's off the map.
I think it's high point zone.
Yeah.
And that's why they decide to leave the place early, try to head a little bit further up north, taking those zip lines, but that's where they run into their first little bit of fire. They decided not to take the fight while they're going up the zip line, but instead want to go ahead and rotate towards the north to get set up for this Valkyrie ult. And while they don't necessarily have beacon knowledge per se to know exactly where this game's going to be heading, with this first ring being so high up north, they can anticipate it's going to be somewhere around that High Point area, even if it is that area that's just south of High Point. Regardless, you can hear the team calming it. They know that this house that's on the left there in High Point is a very, very strong spot, and that's going to be the house that they aim for with this Valkyrie ult.
We get to this edge and we Valkyrie around.
So what this means is they're going to have to look to hug the outside of the mountains here. That way they can look to land on the roof. You'll actually hear Hal call out that he's going to oob, or what they call landing out of bounds.
I'm gonna oob.
This allows Hal to pull out his weapon early, as well as makes no noise on the descent once he touches out of bounds. You'll actually see the players from SCS that Hal lands right next to are looking over at Verholst and Reps with all the noise they're making on the redeploy. And even though Hal does inevitably go down, he breaks the shields of one player as well as gets a knock as well, so that creates the opening that Reps and Verholst need in order to secure the location. Now at this point, TSM has gotten 2 of the 3 players that were initially controlling this building, and they do know the location of the 3rd, but the most important thing, they need to loot up and recover and make sure that they can control this building. And as you're going to see, controlling this spot is so vital to TSM's success this game. When we look at the map here, you can definitely see why, right? I mean, High Point being tucked up into this canyon, protected by those mountains on either side, so really the only way to push onto TSM's location is with a Valk ult, similar to the way that we saw them take this route, right? Which you'll actually hear Hal multiple times telling the team to be on the lookout for teams making that same oob play. So at this point, it's really going to be somewhere around here at High Point. It's just all about locking down this building and playing wide. So after TSM is able to push away a first team, trying to Valk ult around the rocks the way that they had, Hal makes the call to find that rat, the last player that was left from SCS. They do a good job of pushing down into the cave, swinging together as a pair, making sure that no mistakes are made, and they can finish the fight, get themselves some loot, and get back to their building really quick. It was at that point that Imperial Hal decided to look across to the east at that building they saw a team land earlier, thinking that this would be a good time to be able to pick up some more KP, which makes sense, right? That fight had been going on for a while. TSM looted and booted, and as they pushed across the bridge, it was actually a 3rd additional team entering themselves into the picture that would cause TSM to back down.
I think it's a different team in the
Let me back up. Let me back up.
Yeah, back up.
It's kind of crazy to think about that if TSM had pushed in just a couple seconds sooner and then that 3rd team collapses, there's a good chance that TSM doesn't make it out as a trio, doesn't win this game, and doesn't punch their ticket to LAN. Now remember, just having great positioning at this point doesn't matter. TSM still needs to make sure they're holding off these teams that are rotating in. And since Hal did take this position with an oob play, he needed to look out for an oob play for any teams coming in. It would actually be the beat lovers that would collectively try to make that play together, landing down on their location, and TSM was easily able to send them right back to the lobby.
Here.
They might oob. They might just oob, okay? They're moving,
Oobing.
On the roof. Bang that.
On the roof. Crypto cracked. Nice.
One.
That's nice.
And of course, with it being this late into the game, TSM already has enough information to know they've got themselves a phenomenal spot that will carry them into the end game. No need to overextend. They can prep their armor swaps, find their loot boxes to be able to get those grenades out of. It was actually when Hal tried to kind of patrol and check those loot boxes in that under cave that they would see another team rotating their way, heading in the skies.
I'll go from the east. From the east, look east.
Yeah, I see that.
They might look to come towards me. They're looking to come towards me, I think.
They are.
Here, one. Thirst him. He's trying to get the thirst.
And that would actually be Furia looking to rotate in, and the CEO absolutely melts one on the drop.
I'm trying. Make the out of that. I cracked on, so you can pick that.
And then gets mega value off the nade that allows Reps and Verholst to swing with ease to clean up the rest of the fight.
I'm sliding.
They got walls up, one up. Shoot the wall.
Play slow. Nice. Come back.
Now top 13 and KP just continues to land right in the laps of TSM. As far as for now, they'll continue looting these boxes that keep dropping in that undercave and prepping themselves for late game. Speaking of late game, as that 4th ring starts to close, moving more and more team out of cover, I love the call from Hal here to push out to get themselves better angles at those players that are rotating out into the open. that gets Verhulst and Hal up to those red evos. And you'll notice here that TSM literally plays this roof for the entirety of this game, minus a little bit of monitoring like walks around the area, right? I'm gonna go ahead and let this last ring here close out, let y'all listen into the CEO calling the shots of this last bit of this game, which realistically is what allowed TSM to lock themselves a spot into London.
They're gonna get shot later on. We don't want to do anything about it, bro.
DB on the roof! Buckle! Play back!
Shoot the buckle, shoot the buckle. Shoot the buckle.
He died out of the air!
Yep.
I got the kill.
Look at me, look on the roof!
Copy now. One.
Shoot that fucking DB, he's cracked!
He bugged. We can shoot
Charge
again.
for.
Fire, 1 HP, got him.
Nice,
Shoot
DB!
the gimme.
Shoot the Gibby now.
I can't hit him, man.
Oh, man.
Cracked.
It's fine.
One
We just
team
wait
on the
here.
right and one team on the right, one team under.
Yeah, we
And
just
90
chill.
energy.
I have 120. We have the whole fucking zone for us. We don't do literally anything.
Yeah,
I don't have digits. I do not have a digi.
Hard wait.
Same here.
Right there.
They're gonna pitch each other. If they try to walk out, we just fuck this
still
team.
be careful.
Before we make this team stay down there, we can't let them come out.
Yeah, swap up real quick.
Our team is still down there.
If they try to do shit, use Cyril, like Catwall or anything.
Yeah, 100%.
Might just end us for a second.
No, they're gonna into other teams. They're gonna into other fucking teams.
The right team's locking up on them, I think.
Yeah.
One's right here, one's right here. They were like kind of walking up. It's on that heady.
One of you need to stare at that. 500.
I have 90. Okay, fine. They're just on the climb up.
They're on ahead of you here.
Yep.
I'm shitting on them. I'm shitting on them.
I'm walking the follow team right now. I'm walking the follow team, okay?
They bang up
They're
at
up on
us.
us.
I'm gonna queue up, okay, bro?
Yeah,
Not yet, not yet.
On us.
They're right here. You ready?
That left team really quick.
I'm gonna go back down right away.
Go green, the left.
Okay. I'm breaking their Cyril. Don't let them get
I'm
me.
gonna zero P this.
Yep.
I'm gonna zero P this. Give us
Raping,
triangles.
I'm making the fuck out of that. Make the fuck out of that.
So much damage, so much damage.
Bang one.
Playing the knocks, they're playing the knocks. Last squad.
Zero one.
Got him. Valk inside, bottom floor.
Nice.
Good stuff.
Let's go, boys.
We had 19 kills, bro. We
huge
had
fucking
19
go.
kills.
If you enjoy this style of content, let me know down in those comments below, not just because those comments and likes are the two things that help me out with the algorithm, although they do, appreciate you, but also because we're always looking for feedback over here on the channel on what kind of content you guys want to see. Because right now we're doing almost daily esports news, updates, interviews, and more. So with LAN season quickly approaching, make sure you hit that subscribe button right down there and turn those notifications on, and then tell somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody about it. Alright, until we catch y'all back over here on the channel, man, don't forget, with everything crazy going on in the world today, be true, be you, be sincere, game hard and love hard. Alright, y'all, it's your boy Q, signing out.